Okay, so just a reminder, this is a training course, so your assessment and your assessment link will be given to you at the end of the course, and I'll go over all of those details once the training itself is done. But I want to get started pretty quickly because we have a lot to cover today, and I want to make sure that we have time to talk with our guests as well. So Liesl and Kirsten are here with us to give us that presentation, if you want to take it away.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Liesl Ramos. I'm a program administrator in the Operations Bureau at APD in state office, and employment is one of the responsibilities that is in our unit and we're responsible for.
And my name is Kirsten Lee, and I am also in operations with Liesl, and I oversee the employment and transportation and also the ADT redesign. Well, we are going to get started with our slides. Thank y'all for your time this morning. A lot of times people look at the negative side of what they feel they can't do. I always look on the positive side of what I can do. Chuck Norris. The future depends on what you do today, from Mahatma Gandhi. And if opportunity doesn't knock, then build a door. Milton Berle. Okay, we're going to go over the statutes real quick. This is Employment per Chapter 393. Supported employment means employment located or provided in an integrated work setting with earnings paid on a commensurate wage basis and for which continued support is needed for job maintenance. And there's gainful employment. To promote independence and productivity, the agency shall provide support and services within available resources to assist clients enrolled in Medicaid waivers who choose to pursue gainful employment. Then, of course, the Bill of Rights reduce the use of sheltered workshops and other non-competitive employment day activities and promote opportunities for those who choose to seek such employment.
Okay, thanks, Kirsten. What Kirsten just read is the actual definitions of employment and related employment definitions in our statute. As you know, individuals who receive services through the waiver, we need to make sure that we use the definitions in our iBudget waiver handbook. So what is supported employment? And our handbook is a little more detailed about it. Supported employment services provide training and assistance to help support recipients in job development and sustaining paid employment at or above minimum wage unless the recipient is operating a small business. The provider assists with the acquisition, retention, or improvement of skills related to accessing and maintaining such employment or developing and operating a small business. With the assistance of the provider, the recipient receives help in securing employment according to the recipient's knowledge, skills, abilities, supports needed, desired goals, and planned outcomes. Who can receive supported employment? Individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities who have expressed a desire to work in an integrated competitive setting. For purposes of our home and community-based services waiver, supported employment services are provided after individuals have exhausted available resources through the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. Now, who can provide supported employment? These would be individuals who have been trained in supported employment and meet the criteria for becoming a waiver provider. What is the Employment Stability Plan? This document, also known as the Individualized Plan for Employment, is developed by the Life Skills Development Level 2 Supported Employment Provider and must include the following: client demographic information, their current job information to on-site contact person at the job location, employment level of support needed, and the plan for fading of the level of support as appropriate, and periodic performance review information. What are meaningful day activities? These are activities that are chosen by the recipient and can be based on interests, skills, and talents. Meaningful day activities can involve choices that are not paid for by the waiver, including paid employment, volunteer work, and school. For those services funded by the waiver, the meaningful day activity must directly address identified goals in the individual support plan. Individuals enrolled on the waiver should receive services that enable them to, and having a meaningful day activity is one of the things that our waiver we require, or we should always allow an opportunity for individuals to receive a meaningful day activity.
These are our supported employment values, and these are important. Just want to go over these really quick. Your presumption of employment, conviction that everyone, regardless of the level or the type of disability, has a capability and right to a job. Competitive integrated employment is a conviction that employment occurs within the local labor market and regular community businesses. And control, it's a conviction that when people with disabilities choose and regulate their own employment supports and services, career satisfaction will result. Then we can commensurate wages and benefits, a conviction that people with disabilities should earn wages and benefits equal to that of coworkers performing the same or similar jobs. The next one is focus on capability and capabilities. It's a conviction that people with disabilities should be viewed in terms of their abilities, strength, and interests rather than their disabilities. And the importance of relationships. This is one of my favorites. It's a conviction that community relationships, both at and away from work, leads to mutual respect and acceptance. Power of supports. It's a conviction that people with disabilities need to determine their personal goals and receive assistance in assembling the supports necessary to achieve their ambitions. System change. It's a conviction that traditional systems must be changed to ensure customer control, which is vital to the integrity of supported employment. And leading into that is the Employment Enhanced Program. So, you know, what is the purpose? And the purpose of the EEP is to provide opportunities for competitive employment to individuals on the Agency for Persons with Disabilities waiting list who want a job. Competitive employment means working in the community side by side with individuals without disabilities and earning minimum wage or higher. And the highest priority is made for people who are leaving the school system to begin working in competitive employment in their communities. Job seekers must not have an active case with vocational rehab, and they must be at least 18 years of age. Also, APD will assist with ongoing supported employment, follow-along services for continued employment success. And through the EEP supported employment providers, APD can pay for services or items that will assist the individual in obtaining and retaining competitive employment. The last thing about the EEP program that is important as well to remember is that APD supported employment providers access job seeker skills, and they assist with resume development, set up mock interviews, and connect job seekers with job clubs. This is internships and other pathways to potential jobs. Note also that internships, in my opinion, is very vital to this as well. They also work with the employers to identify current job openings. Okay.
We would like to go over some of the influences that have caused changes in service delivery. We recognize that individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities need to have the same opportunities to have access to competitive integrated employment. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 laid the groundwork for prohibiting discrimination of individuals with disabilities in the workplace. The Employment First Act provides the official framework for a long-time commitment to improving employment outcomes for individuals with disabilities in this state. In October 2013, Governor Scott signed an order mandating the creation of an interagency cooperative agreement among specific state agencies that provide services to individuals with disabilities to ensure that the continuation of long-term commitment improves the employment outcomes for persons with disabilities. And APD is one of those 8 organizations that form part of this interagency cooperative agreement. The Medicaid Home and Community-Based Final Regulation of 2014 is also referred to as the CMS Final Rule, requires that providers train individuals and provide opportunities to seek employment and work in a competitive, integrated setting. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, also known as WIOA, signed into law in July 2014, focuses on ensuring that students and younger individuals with disabilities can transition better into employment and prepares them to succeed into competitive integrated employment. Individuals with developmental disabilities experience different challenges when trying to access employment, and the WIOA removes some of those challenges and prepares them to succeed into the work environment. Individuals with developmental disabilities and their families want change and expect the same opportunities of individuals without disabilities. Some of the legislation we've talked about has been driven by individuals with disabilities and their families.
And next is the Florida Employment First Act of 2016. The Florida Employment First Act of 2016 directs APD and other state organizations to prioritize employment among the array of services available to individuals with disabilities. APD is a partner of a 9-part integracy cooperative agreement that identifies specific objectives to carry out the provisions of this law. The goal is to translate the lessons learned from the Employment First statutes into strategies for effective implementation of an Employment First initiative in Florida. The overarching goal of Florida's effort is to ensure broad participation from Florida stakeholders to develop and support a sustainable implementation and marketing plan that can contribute to greater employment opportunities for Floridians with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The Americans with Disability Act of 1990 prohibits the discrimination against individuals with disabilities in the employment or workplace. The Employment First movement, Florida is one of 38 states with an official policy that provides a framework for long-term commitment to improving employment outcomes. On October 2013, Governor Scott signed the order mandating the creation of the interagency cooperative agreement amongst specific state agencies and other disability services and organizations to ensure the continuation of a long-term commitment for providing employment outcomes for persons with disabilities. And the general purpose of the interagency cooperative agreement is to provide a framework for a long-term commitment to improve employment outcomes for persons with disabilities in the state of Florida.
So we wish we could make one of these for each of you, because we know each of you play an integral role in the lives of the individuals that you serve. The role of the waiver support coordinator is very important in the lives of the individuals that you serve. You advocate for and identify, develop, coordinate, and access supports and services on behalf of the individuals you serve, regardless of the funding source.
And exactly what Liesl said. So remember to stay calm, keep calm, and call the waiver support coordinator.
What does that mean?
It means keep calm. Jeremy's asking what keep calm and call the waiver support coordinator means. It means people that work for you at APD,
Yeah.
they have to stay very calm and be very helpful.
So
And wait for you to call them.
If I call, what would I call you guys for?
Well, you have called us before, and we've helped you with employment, and we actually helped with internship and worked alongside with Lamb County. So we were very able to help you. I'm going to let Liesl do the next part, and she's going to explain what a waiver support coordinator is related to employment. You'll like this next segment.
Yeah.
Take it away, Liesl.
Okay. So as an agency, as a system, and as waiver support coordinators, we need to achieve a balance between helping individuals find their jobs and the system's responsibility. We can support individuals with the most challenging issues to have a job like you and I in a competitive employment. We need to design our system in a way to take what we know and implement it. Historically, our system has had limited options for individuals to support them. In Florida, we have adult day training and supported employment services. We're in the process of creating service options that expand beyond what currently exists. Providing individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities with choices, chances, and changes in the way we do things help them to earn money beside what they receive through SSI and SSDI. The National Core Indicators, which Florida participates in, states that over 48% of individuals with developmental disabilities are asking the system to help them access competitive integrated employment. That's a challenge, and we want to bring the waiver support coordinators in the conversation. Waiver support coordinators are a key factor in helping get individuals understand what their choices, chances, what are the changes, to empower them, and to help with service planning and implementation.
The role of the WSC related to employment. The person-centered thinking and planning, bless you, health and safety, right and responsibilities, informed decisions, dignity of choice and risk, important to and for guiding service decisions. The WSCs have a huge responsibility in what the system brings forward to offer the individual, create opportunities for WSCs to approach their work from a person-centered thinking point of view, not just how to have a person-centered planning. How do we actually learn to listen to an individual and family and help translate what they're saying into a life of work, fun, knowledge of every day? Responsibility that services are provided in a healthy and safety. Their rights and choices around their rights. Responsibilities and burdens that WSCs have to make sure people make true informed decisions about how they choose their services. Understanding the dignity of choice and also taking risk. What we're learning from WSCs about the importance of helping individual families and providers is to take responsibility, to take responsible risks, driven about health and safety compliance that we forget, and how important it is to take challenge of risk and responsibility of taking risk as well. We say what we want to, we say what do you want, and often forget what is important for a person. When going into the employment world, we need to ask about transportation backup plans, and they're safe when they're out in the world. It is hard to have conversations about employment at times, but recognize where individuals and families are in their life path. Expose people to make better decisions about employment. Often when we get into deep conversations, we realize how things are going to work with employers if they don't speak or if behavior is explosive. We have the knowledge to help individuals with those kinds of challenges to work, and it behooves us to know enough to help them in that employment decision.
We have 3 quick examples of the types of conversations, guided conversations, that Waiver Support Coordinator can help individuals with. We'd like to get through these as quickly as possible, since we also want to allow time for our guests to speak. So the example 1 is for an individual who's currently not working and doubtful about even considering work. So as they're in different paths or stages in their life, we will ask them different kinds of questions. These conversations are critical. There are lots of opinions about how conversations should happen, but it really is about having a guided conversation that can help people soothe their emotions and opinions. Waiver support coordinators have a key role in helping individuals make informed decisions about employment. How do we support them through times when they're not working? And families have expressed fear of, if they don't have an ADT program, they'll end up in a couch at the home. So some of the questions that we may ask have to do with, can you tell me something you would like to be doing but currently aren't doing? No dream is the wrong dream to have. Individuals can express what it is that they would like to do, and as a waiver support coordinator, you should try to make a connection between the individual's desires, dreams, and work. The next example has to do with someone who's interested but not yet on a path, or doesn't have the necessary support to seek employment. So we should ask questions such as, and these are just examples that may be helpful. What worries do you have about working? Are you worried about losing benefits? And this is a thing that we hear a lot. People think I can't do that type of job because I don't have the skills. Well, begin to have that conversation and begin to offer some sorts of solutions. As a waiver support coordinator, you may be able to connect the person with someone else who had similar concerns and is now working. Stay realistic, but help them find one good thing they can focus on and make it exciting.
The third example is individual and is working and interested in change. And this is very unique to happen. You know, what kind of help do you need to develop new or different work skills? Recognize that, like every one of us that have been working in our adult life, we don't stay in the same job forever. Our first jobs are often just that, an experience that helps us know what we really want to do. Our careers take very different paths sometimes. So let's just say someone wanted to be a university professor and was supported by family to do that. Went out of college, did master's and passed the doctor, had a life change event and joined the national service industry and ended up working for National Park Services and ended up in a career in the National Park Services. Took advantage of all he learned through his college career, but career path took a different turn. It's the same thing. You know, actions also, as a WSC, you should try to link the individual to additional job training, certifications, or classes for career advancements. As WSCs, we have responsibilities to check in and identify to see what they like and what they're doing. Have they often been offered a promotion or increased wages or managing benefits? Always check to see what is going to change in their career world. You know, if it's time for them to maybe go to a community college or try a different type of certificate for training. There's all different program tiers, options, and credentialing. Programs often for people with disabilities may not be where they stay. Sheltered workshops, ask them, are they happy there? They wish they would have other opportunities to try different things. Our system has not helped them think beyond what they're content on with doing. Do not stand alone. WCs are a critical piece and influencer in helping people know what they want to do in their futures.
What we would like to cover next is the employment data in iConnect. We did issue a advisory in August specific to this, but we wanted to make sure we would reinforce that in here now, since we have you on this training. We need to make sure that in order for us to keep accurate data and in order for the data to be valid, that all waiver support coordinators enter information in iConnect related to individuals on their caseloads who are currently working or who have expressed an interest in working. It is very important that we keep this data accurate and up to date. We use this data to report both with state stakeholders as well as federal stakeholders. So you would go to the individual's demographic section in iConnect. You would click on edit and edit demographics. And once you do that, you go to the next screen and a different window will show up. You will have to scroll all the way down on that new window that shows up and enter this information in there as it applies for each of your consumers that you serve. If they are competitively employed, we need to know that. And if yes, we also need to know the date they were hired and the average monthly earnings from that employment. If they are not employed and want competitive employment, it's critical that you put this information in here. Soon we will be sharing data with our vocational rehabilitation partners, and this is where we are going to pull the data so that they are aware of individuals who have expressed an interest in competitive employment. And as you know, they have to go through vocational rehabilitation first. So it's very critical that you enter this information. So with that, we'll pass it on to our
Well, we have two very special guests today. Our first guest today is Jeremy Richard, and Jeremy is also is a part of our EEP program, and we're going to let him tell you about. Jeremy, can you tell the guests where you work?
Hi, my name, good morning. My name is Jeremy Richard. I'm here to tell you about my job. Last year, I had an internship at Lively that APD paid for. I was working so hard, did well, and only made one mistake. During my internship, I worked at citizen services. Some of the jobs I did there were shred papers, greet people, sort mail, vacuum, take out the trash, and clean. My APD job coach came to work with me and helped me on my job. I liked my internship. When I was over, I applied for a permanent job at Lively and I got it. I had to do an application online. I could get a job interview. Now for the administration office. At work, I have my own desk, so I know where to report to every day. I do more than just at a desk all day with my radio. I work and I work hard. I help with cleaning. I vacuum. I help with the fire alarms. No, the fire drills. I shred papers and help with mail. I do it with a great attitude. That's what I like about my job as a staff man, because I add my 2 cents to thing. Also, I like that I'm treated like everyone else on the team. No special treatment here. They expect no less from me than they do to my boss, Miss Bell. I'm expected to do my job right and with a smile. My coworker also helped me to do a good job of work because we are a team. I love Miss Courtney and Miss Brittany really helped me a lot, and I helped them with the fire drills. My job makes me feel happy because I work hard. I am proud of my job, and my family is proud of me. I want to thank everyone who helped me get my job, and my coworkers help me every day. I love everyone so much. My job has changed my life, and I'm so happy. I love walking to work every day for my class as it gives me time to think and to get ready to get my best. I wish all my friends could work. If you need good employees, a lot of my friends are ready to work. Thank you for letting me show you today. All right.
Jeremy, we want to thank you so much for telling us your story today. But my favorite part is what you said right here. I'm expected to do my job right and do it with a smile. Shouldn't we all feel that way? We're so thankful for you coming today to speak to us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're going to escort Jeremy out real quick. Hold on just one moment. Thank you, Jeremy. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. And our next guest today is Kevin Graham. And Kevin Graham comes to us today. He works for a local restaurant here in Midtown in Tallahassee, Florida. But he also was a recipient of an award last year through APD at a business that he worked at. And he actually received the award for APD for employment. So we welcome you, Kevin Graham. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks.
So we just had a few questions for you this morning. How long have you been working?
About 9 or 13 years.
Nice. So how many years have you been working? Are you including school in that as well?
Yes, includes the transition program.
Wonderful. And so when you were in the transition program, who did you work with? Was it maybe VR?
VR counselor.
Wonderful. And where did they help you get a job?
They helped me get a job. My first job was Lucy and Leo's Cupcakery.
Now, Lucy and Leo's Cupcakery was on the Food Network, and they won a cupcake award. So he worked for a very famous cupcakery. How did you start working in your job after VR helped you? Was it very long? How long do you remember it taking? Was it a few months or a year?
About a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
good. And so they got you in a wonderful job, it sounds like.
Yes.
Now tell us what you do at work now.
I'm host with the mostest at Jerry's Midtown Cafe.
So wonderful. So you're the host of the hostess with the mostest, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would be. So you're the host with the most. So tell us what it's like for you at work. How do you deal with issues or like a problem that comes up when you're at work?
I go to my boss. They approach to my boss immediately.
So when you approach your boss, do you ask to meet with your boss later or
Yes.
right when it happens?
Right when it happens.
Okay, that's so good. Wonderful. And then your boss helps you with the problem that you're dealing with?
Yes.
Wonderful. I think that's the way we should all work. Okay, what makes you happy at work? Like what puts a smile on your face?
Always greeting customers, staff, co-workers, and everybody else that I work with, but mostly greeting customers with a smile on my face.
So your job is to give your smile away every day.
Yes.
What a blessing. So what's your next career move? What do you see yourself doing next?
I see myself working in an office for the state in the future. So
Nice.
yes.
Y'all hear that? If y'all know any jobs available right now, please let Kevin Graham know. Kevin, it's an honor to have you here today. And we are just so proud of what you do every day and making a difference in other people's lives and being a good example. So thank you so much for all you do in our community as well. Kevin's also very active in his youth group. So just to note, on a personal side, he helps the youth pastor on what nights do you go?
Wednesdays.
Wonderful. So he helps his youth pastor on Wednesday nights with the youth in Tallahassee. So we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Good job, Kevin.
So we would like to open it up for any questions. Yes. We also have this video lasts 14 minutes, but we're not going to watch all of it. We're only going to watch a small portion. You're encouraged to watch it all on your time when you get a chance.
In my head, my parents reinforced this notion that I could do anything, that no dream was impossible. And my dream was to be on the daytime soap opera at General Hospital. I went to college during affirmative action and got a sweet scholarship to ASU, Arizona State University, because I fit every single quota. I was like the pet lemur of the theater department. Everybody loved me. I did all the less than intelligent kids' homework. I got A's in all of my classes, A's in all of their classes. Every time I did a scene from a glass menagerie, my professors would weep. But I never got cast. Finally, my senior year, ASU decided to do a show called I Dance Real Slow in Jackson. It's a play about a girl with CP. I was a girl with CP. So I start shouting from the rooftops, I'm finally getting hit for it. I have cerebral palsy. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God almighty, I'm free at last. I didn't get the part. Sherry Brown got the part. I went racing to the head of the theater department, crying hysterically like someone shot my cat, to ask her why. And she said it was because they didn't think I could do the stunts. I said, excuse me, if I can't do the stunts, neither can the character. This was a part that I was literally born to play, and they gave it to a non-palsy actress. College was imitating life. Hollywood has a sordid history of casting able-bodied actors to play disabled on screen. Upon graduating, I moved back home, and my first acting gig was as an extra on a daytime soap opera. My dream was coming true, and I knew that I would be promoted from diner to wacky best friend in no time. But instead, I remained a glorified piece of furniture that you could only recognize from the back of my head. And it became clear to me that casting directors didn't hire fluffy ethnic disabled actors. They only hired perfect people, but there were exceptions to the rule. I grew up watching Whoopi Goldberg, Roseanne Barr, Ellen, and all of these women had one thing in common. They were comedians. So I became a comic.
Thank you. This TED Talk is very encouraging. If you get a chance and you can hear the whole thing, that would be awesome. Sometimes we expect things and we think that everything is going to work the way we have. We have to adjust and adapt. We have to change plans. We write a service plan and we write a plan to get a job, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, but we can't quit. So I think that it is a good time now to go ahead and see if we have any questions. No sound.
So if you all want to go ahead and start submitting any questions or comments or concerns that came up during this discussion, we will go through the questions box and try to address some of those. We have a good amount of time, so if you have some pressing issues you want to bring up, this would be your opportunity.
Okay, so the issue is that we're facing, as waiver support coordinators, no providers available to supported employment services. Also, we need more training on income, work incentives, and how this affects the consumer benefits. And this question was brought up by Lee West, and this is a very valid question and a very valid concern. And we understand that this is an issue, and we're working on training. In fact, we have some training already developed, and we're working on putting it in the train system. So, as soon as this is out in the train system, we will be happy to share this with you. We used to have a trainer on staff, and she left this summer, so that has, left a gap for us. But we're working on replacing that person as soon as possible, and we're also working on putting some additional training on the train system. So the work incentives, benefit analysis is extremely complex, and I totally agree with you. I think this should be handled by an SES specialist. However, we do need an overview. And again, this is part of what's going to be placed on the train system. So how long after someone is referred to voc rehab with no assistance provided before we can request supported employment through the waiver? And is a letter from vocational rehabilitation required? This question was brought up by Michelle Belcher. And yes, we would need a letter from voc rehab in order for us to begin providing supported employment services through the waiver. We do need to have some, collaborative efforts with voc rehab, and if we receive no assistance from them, please contact your supported employment liaison in each region. If you don't know who the employment liaison is in yours, you may want to give us a call, and we'll be happy to connect you with the right person. How do we access the test? And so that'll be available later.
Yeah, all the testing information will come at the end, just like how we normally do it.
He needs to know what the purpose of the webinar is. He's asking what the purpose of it is.
Okay, so the purpose of the webinar for today was mainly to provide you with the definitions for employment, give you some of the influences that have determined the course that we're taking in the state of Florida for employment and day training initiatives, and also to share some of the perspectives of how employment is important for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and we wanted to make sure you would hear directly from them as well. Yes.
And also, Lee, to give you some insight on the purpose of the webinar, we wanted you to also experience some of the positives. Jeremy was a perfect example of someone who did an internship through the EEP program and now has meaningful employment with the division that he went to work for as an intern. So he's a success story of showing how, you know, we can utilize these options for, you know, our waiting list and get them into work and get them into internships and then into employment. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Waivers, as waiver support coordinators, I feel the things discussed today should be addressed to the supported employment providers, and you're absolutely right, and that is something that we also plan on doing. Sometimes they are the barrier to success for clients, and this from Ms. Bellamy, thank you. We do plan on sharing this information with them as well. Do you have the link to the video? Yeah, it's provided on the SharePoint, on the PowerPoint slide. And just for your information, the actual PowerPoint is also on our website. If you go to the Waiver Support Coordination advisory page where we announced this training, you will find the PowerPoint presentation in there as well. And if you get to that slide, you'll see the link to that video in there. The Employment Enhancement Program, did I hear that there can be no active case manager with VR? In order for somebody who's on the waiting list, the Employment Enhancement Program is only available to people who are on the waiting list. And so in order for Employment Enhancement Program to be available, they either receive services from vocational rehabilitation, or we don't want it to be any duplication of service. So they would have either already ended a case with VR, or if they are with VR, we need to let them proceed with VR. And once they're done there, we can provide additional services. So the role of VR, they rarely help. They have a very important role in providing phase one of supported employment services, job coaching, and training and assistance. And if you find that you don't have collaboration from them, again, please make sure that you communicate with our supported employment liaison in your region and seek some help in getting assistance or additional help from VR. Any transportation ideas or plans? Yeah, do you want to say something about transportation?
Well, right now there aren't any new ideas or plans for transportation for folks who are on the EEP program. You know, we do have the pilot going on right now in the Suncoast region in Manatee, Hillsborough, and Pinellas County. Hopefully, with the upcoming legislature, the legislature will refund that, and we'll be able to expand the program. Right now, the funds are getting low in that program, and we're going to have more funds in order to expand it beyond those 3 counties. But we'll give you additional information about that if that's the case.
And that's a pilot. I don't know that everybody's aware of what pilot you're talking about. That's a pilot that provides on-demand type of rides similar to Uber or Lyft in the Suncoast region. And it's not just, you know, it's for anywhere. It's for people to go to work or anywhere they would like to go. So right now, as you know, transportation via the waiver is just to and from waiver services. But we're hoping that through that pilot, we'll be able to expand some of that. Someone wanted to see the screen. Please show the clip of the iConnect demographic edit. So we're going back to it. You want to go back to it? Oh, they can see it. So basically, you have to go to the demographic page in iConnect for the client that you want to update. At the top of the page, you click on Edit, and then scroll to where it says Edit Demographic. Once you click on Edit Demographics, then a new window will come up, and the example that you have on your screen is the bottom part of that new window. You have to scroll all the way down on that new window where it says additional information, and that's where you would enter the employment related fields. Historically, VR does not communicate with waiver support coordinators. Has this been resolved? Are they providing a release of information at the initial meeting so that waiver support coordinators are able to be involved? This question is from Barbara Jones. I know that we have been meeting with vocational rehabilitation to increase and improve our collaborative efforts. And in fact, we're in the process of completing a interagency collaboration
Where we can do share.
where we can share information, where we can share information with them, and then they can share information with APD related to individuals who are ready to transition to supported employment for phase 2. So we're working on this at the local level. This is something that I would hope you have better communication with them. Again, if you have difficulties getting information, please, again, you can either communicate with us and we can help somehow, to improve that communication, or contact your employment liaison locally. What will Voc Rehab do with the shared information they get from iConnect? Will they reach out to the consumer to head them? So part of our collaborative agreement is that they will receive information about individuals who have expressed a desire to work. And yes, the expectation is that they will reach out to the individual and that they will assist with, phase 1 of employment related services. The biggest barrier for assisting consumers to have gainful employment is transportation, and that is a very valid concern. We hear that all over, and we're trying to work on that. Again, it's funding, and the waiver doesn't allow for that right now. So that's a real concern. Will supported employment coaches have access to iConnect? Yes, they will. We are working on future rollouts for iConnect for providers, and I can't remember right now if they're scheduled to be included in the next rollout or in a rollout after that. But yes, the answer is yes. So Lee wants more information about the supported employment liaison. Please, Lee, call Kirsten Lee. Do you want to put Kirsten's phone number in there? Oh, it is on the presentation. So there you go. So when you download the presentation from our website, you will have both Kirsten's and my phone number there. So please contact one of us and we'll be happy to share the supported employment liaison in each region. What is the time frame that VR has to help a consumer find employment? My understanding is that it's on an individual basis, and it's depending on the progress of their skills and their abilities. I'm not sure that they have a time frame, but I can, we would have to ask and get that information for you. Okay, so how do you sign that we've attended this class, and that will be once you take the course training?
Yeah, anyone who's concerned about getting their attendance today, I already have it because you registered. So you don't need to sign in, and then once you complete your test, you'll have your certificate, just like always. But I'll give you more details after this.
Okay. Consumers are in general very disappointed by the complex vocational rehabilitation process. VR is perhaps the greatest barrier to clients obtaining employment. The waiver support coordinators do all that we can to inform clients of choices. We also access VR supervisors and heads when clients are discouraged, but these actions have not helped. VR truly needs an overhaul if we want clients to be successfully employed. Thank you, Gloria, for this feedback. This is something that we will be sharing with our voc rehab stakeholder partners, and we hope that somehow we'll be able to improve this. Again, you know, we are working on an interagency collaborative agreement, and hopefully this can be addressed at that time, but we will certainly share this with them. And if you have any specific examples that you can share with us about people like a specific person that you have seen this challenge with, please bring that to my attention or Kirsten's, and we will bring these to the attention of our voc rehab counterparts and you know, research some of that if we can.
Do you want me to answer this one? The next question is from Sherry. Can you explain how volunteering relates to supported employment? Volunteering is can also be looked at as a meaningful day. It's also a foot in the door. They also have the ability to, you know, hopefully get to know that organization, maybe to get an internship. You know, they learn job skills, they learn, you know, interrelationships with people that are working. Volunteering is wonderful. We use Kevin Graham as an example of that. He volunteers on Wednesdays at his church for his youth group. So volunteering is wonderful, and it provides a wonderful experience. So, and it's a foot in the door. Thank you. Great question.
So is this employment stability plan in addition to or included in with the support plan? That is in addition to, and that's the role of the employment, supported employment coach will write the employment stability plan. So that's in addition to the support plan. So somebody wanted to know what information in iConnect was going to be shared with voc rehab. What will voc rehab do? Oh, okay, I think I answered that question already.
Yes.
How do VR employers and, how do VR find employers? And if a person does not fit the jobs they have, will VR find one that the person likes? I believe that's part of the process they go through is, you know, we have to build employer capacity, and we have to also, as part of our initiatives that we're working on with the ADT and employment changes, we're hoping that we can expand on employer capacity, and individuals just like us, if we find a job that we do not like, we should be able to have an opportunity to continue looking for new jobs. And so the same goes for persons with disabilities. Okay, the pilot program in Suncoast has been great, but now with the Advantage Ride pilot is now charging $4 per trip. Yeah, and my understanding is that they've had to do that because the program has been so successful. They've had so many people join that now the funds that have been allocated for that program are quickly running out. And in order to continue the program, they've had to charge $4 per trip. So these are some of the challenges that come along with, you know, the lack of funding basically for transportation to and from other places. Do you have anything else to add, Ken?
Yeah, the pilot initially all along was designed to have a copay attached to it. Just the first couple of months, we didn't charge anything. But the extra $2, which now makes it $4, was implemented so that the program could be sustainable. As of right now, the program is scheduled to end at the end of March instead of the end of June. So we're hoping that, with this current legislative session coming up, that we'll get some additional funding to be able to expand the program, because we know that it is a success and people are liking it. I mean, you're getting an opportunity to not only just go to waiver services, but you can go to just about any place in the community that you desire. So hopefully we can get more funding to expand the program.
Thank you. I think with this, we have run out of time. We will look at all the questions and get back with everybody with their answers.
Yep, so I just want to say thank you to Liesl and Kirsten and Kent, who chimed in a few times about transportation. I hope that everyone found the training informative and useful. And if you have questions that either didn't get addressed or you didn't put them in our chat box, go ahead and reach out to Kirsten or Liesl. They are here to help. So make sure you take down their contact information so that you can have some conversations with them. And now what I know all of you have been waiting for, here is your testing information. And I will also put the link in the text in the chat box so you guys can have that. The test opens in 5 minutes. So if you try to click the link now, it's not going to work until 11:05. I like to give everyone a chance to write it down and get prepared for it. But just a reminder, if you don't write it down or if you don't copy and paste it from the chat box right now, you will get an automated email in 1 hour at noon today that will include the link, and you have until 5 p.m. to take that test. Each person needs to individually take their assessment to earn their credit, and then you'll get your certificate immediately after you submit that test. Your certificate will show the score and the number of credits earned. And as always, the scoring rubric is 75% or higher will give you 1.5 CEUs for today's training. If you get 74% or less, unfortunately, you did not earn your credit for today. So feel free, write this down or copy it out of the chat box so that you have it, and use the next couple of minutes or so while I keep the call open to submit any more questions or comments. I do save our chat box and I share it with Liesl and Kirsten and other people at the agency, so your comments are always received and used for further discussion. So I just want to thank everyone for joining today and taking time to listen to Kevin and listen to Jeremy, and hopefully their stories sparked some ideas for how you can help your own clients. So have a wonderful Friday, and thank you so much.